Welcome to Small Business 21st Century. And this is another session of the Wealth Zone University. Glad to see you. Glad everyone came back. Today, I'm going to introduce you to somebody who I really have gotten to know and really like. And her name is Adebola Ajao. Adebola, welcome.
Thank you, Don. Thanks for having me.
And the reason that we have her here is because she wrote a book that's called The Empowered Woman that has just gems of information that talk about what I call self-development. Adebola, please give us some background on who you are and what made you want to write this book, what experiences you had out of your life that made you want to write Empowered Woman.
So thank you, Don. First of all, thank you for having me today. And so first of all, I am a research scientist. That is my training. I'm a pharmacoepidemiologist, and that's what I do full time.
Okay.
But I'm also an author, and I wrote Empowered Woman in 2021. The full title is Empowered Woman, 5 Principles for Living Your Best Life and Fulfilling Your Potential.
Okay, say that again for us.
Empowered Woman, 5 Principles for Living Your Best Life and Fulfilling Your Potential.
Okay, thank you.
And in addition to that, I'm a speaker. I'm also a personal development coach. And I am the founder of Empowering Initiatives. And this is an organization that empowers professional women to identify their gifts, walk in their purpose through personal development and personal leadership so they can reach their highest potential through service.
Fantastic. Now, what in your life made you decide that you needed to share what you've learned in a book?
Yeah, thank you. For me to tell you that story, I have to take you a little way back.
Okay, let's go.
To my beginning. So I was born and raised in Nigeria, West Africa. Immigrated to this country when I was 17 to go to college.
Okay.
My parents stayed back home. And so I came here as a 17-year-old to navigate the educational system here.
All by yourself?
Yeah. Mind you, I grew up in a British system. So coming to the American system was a little bit different. And I didn't have any relatives, no uncles, no aunties, nobody. Went straight to college, went to Indiana in the cold. Coming from Nigeria to the cold. So it was quite a culture shock. But I think I did navigate that system somewhat successfully.
Obviously.
I was always a good student. I loved the sciences. I wanted to be a physician. That was my original plan.
Okay.
But navigating the system clearly requires mentorship. You require people that have gone before you. I didn't really have that. So when my senior year in college, I took a course called epidemiology. And I thought, oh, I really like this because it puts disease prevention on a kind of on a global level, at a population level. So I went and got a master's degree in public health with a concentration in epidemiology. I liked it so much, I went and got a doctorate in epidemiology.
A real student, okay.
I know.
Fantastic.
And so I had a path, growing up in Nigeria, to a father who's an economist, who's a professor at a university, and a mom who is a principal of a high school.
Okay,
I was
so
born into a family of
is in your
educators,
family.
right?
Okay.
So education was the key, it's the path. So I followed that path that I know that was kind of laid out for me. But fast forward 10 years as a professional woman in the US system, in a very highly prestigious federal agency, which was my dream job. I found myself as a scientist, as a woman of color, and I had no one that looked like me above me that I could reach out to or reach up to. Right? Growing up, wanted to advance my career and navigating motherhood at the same time.
Okay.
I needed a mentor. And I could not find someone that looked like me that could help me navigate that. Frankly, in my professional career, I've had a lot of mentors, but they were all men. They were all men, and none of them looked like me. And I owe everything to that,
Oh,
and I
sure.
appreciate that.
We all.
But there are circumstances where you want someone that understands what you've been through or what you are going through. And as a woman, it's really challenging for me to talk to a man about how do I grow in my career while I'm raising my 3 children.
Yes.
So I had to go through a personal development journey. In that time of my life, I needed more than I've been given. And I needed to go back in order to go forward. So what does that mean?
Go back in order to go forward.
Yes. I needed to discover or rediscover who I am. So I needed to go back and understand, who am I? What are my gifts? What are my talents? And how can I harness those to move forward in my career path?
So you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you are just trying to figure out who Adebola is.
Actually, at this point, I was in my early 40s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, because I spent my 30s going
through. So it's never too late.
Yes, I spent my 30s going through school.
Okay.
I was doing my doctoral degree in my 30s.
Okay.
And that was a 5-year full-time program. And I had my kids while I was doing my doctorate.
Wow.
So my 30s was actually pretty busy.
Understatement.
It was pretty busy. I do see some women now that are in their 30s going through this personal development. And I was kind of asked myself, did I hit that spot late? But honestly, I was doing other things in my 30s. So it was the right time for me. It was the right time for me when I got to a point where I had my kids, I had my degree, I had my career, and I was just at a point where I was trying to advance in my career.
Okay.
Everything that I had to get to that point was not enough for me to move forward.
But that's important. You had all those accomplishments, all that experience, and you still realized that there was something that you had to do for you. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a time when I needed to figure out a new path forward. I needed to go back and tap into my strengths.
Okay.
So for me, I had to understand my gifts. What are my talents? What are my skills? And for example, I feel like I'm a very logical person. I really enjoy being around people. I enjoy mentorship. I'm someone that has the potential to lead because I'm actually first of 5 children. So I've always been asked to lead by example. So I realized that I do want to go into leadership positions. And though I'm a scientist and I do enjoy the science that I do, and I'm also in women's health, and I really enjoy that area of research, but I do want to go beyond just being an individual contributor. I wanted to step into leadership positions. So for me, my personal development was actually really pivotal in being able to step outside of my comfort zone to take on those leadership positions.
But the fact that you realized that you had to learn and adapt something more for yourself is critical, because most people don't.
That is true.
So was it just a focus of you just knowing Adebola so well, or a focus of your mentors talking to you, or just a combination of things?
No, it was really more an internal struggle.
Okay.
It was a sense of feeling stagnant, feeling stuck, and feeling unfulfilled. And that was strange to me because I'm in public health and I'm in public service. How much more do you get in service? And I was feeling stagnant, stuck, and I felt like I couldn't move forward.
Wow.
So it was more of an internal struggle that I was going through that led me to that phase of my personal development. And that personal development is a journey, and I'm still in it. It's a journey.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a journey. I feel like empowerment comes from within, and it's a journey. So it never really ends. You keep growing.
Okay.
And that's that growth mindset that we have to develop.
And so you brought all of that, put it into book form, and now you have a fantastic book that I read, and I was almost every page was like, wow.
Wow. Thank you.
And then when you and I met, the conversation that we had, it was easy, friendly. You're definitely a people person, and you definitely know yourself, and you share that so easily with people. And so the purpose of writing the book was to reach a broader audience or to bring something specific? Give us some background.
Yes, yes. Well, I don't want to be selfish. I feel like, this is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to put these principles that I learned in my personal development journey together into a book so I can help other women. Because I know if I was in this situation, I'm not going to be the last person. I'm not going to be the last person. There are going to be other people coming behind me who are going to need these principles, and in a very practical format too. Like, I'm a very practical person. So I needed to, inspiration is great, but I'm all about transformation. So I needed my tools to be the principles that I put in the book and the tools that I describe in the book to be practical, so women can adapt and adopt them to fit their life, to fit their growth process.
And so the things that you put in the book were things that you actually went through in your personal development when you got to that phase where you figured you're not satisfied, I need to enhance. I need to enhance Adebola.
Yes, I need to do more.
Okay.
I need to do more. Yes.
And so you took those things, you put them in the book.
Yes.
The book has 5 principles, which we're going to get to in the next segment. But they're your personal experiences. They're your personal journey. They're the personal things that you did that you found were successful for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I believe will be successful for everybody else.
Good.
These principles are evergreen. They never really, this is what we use on a daily basis, and it really doesn't end. So I really believe they are evergreen. Wherever you are in life, you can always use any or all of these principles.
Fantastic. We're going to talk in the next phase about the 5 principles, and we're also going to show you a PDF, a chart of a feedback loop, which we think is extremely important, which takes the 5 principles and helps you to see the progression of the 5 principles. But whilst we talk about the movement of minds in the book, because I think that's exactly what happens from the first page to the last page, your mind moves. One of the things that is so important is that you make the book very plain and relatable. So even though you're a research scientist, the book is written from that language. You write it just talking to the average person, average woman. And so is that something that was important to you?
Very important to me. I mean, I have a busy lifestyle, and I know every woman is super busy because we wear so many hats. We don't have time to sit and read big, huge books and spend hours. So I was really important to me for it to be short, sweet, and practical.
Okay.
And very plain language and very relatable.
And you've accomplished that.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to go into the book in depth. We have 5 principles. We're not going to be able to spend a lot of time on each one of them, but enough time so that you can determine exactly how this book relates to you. And I found that even though it's called Empowered Woman, 5 Principles for Living Your Best Life and Fulfilling Your Potential, that it applies to everybody, including me. There's some things that I've learned in that book that are extremely important. Adebola, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and let's dive into the principles and see whether or not we can convince everybody else what you and I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That this book is extremely vital to who we are.
Thank you.
Okay?
Absolutely.
See you in a couple of minutes. Hi, everyone. The objective of the Wealth Zone University is to change your mind about money to change your financial future. Hi, I'm your host, Don Moragne. In the Wealth Zone University, my guests and I talk about a wide variety of business, financial, and other worldly topics. We are seeking to both educate and entertain you. We emphasize that the informations and discussions are my opinion, perspectives, and ideas, and those of our guests. We in no way intend to deliver or provide financial, tax, or business advice. You should consult with your tax, accounting, financial, insurance, and legal advisors regarding the impact, application, or pertinence of any topic or opinion that we share on the Wealth Zone University. Thank you for being a part of our audience, and please continue to communicate with us through email and Twitter, because this is your show. Welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion with our lovely guest, Adebola Ajao. And we're going to delve into the book right now. And the book is Empowered Woman, 5 Principles for Living Your Best Life and Fulfilling Your Potential. Adebola, what are the 5 principles? Can you name them for us?
Sure. Thanks for asking.
Uh-huh.
So the first one is think big. The second is face your fears. The third is find knowledge. The fourth is find mentors. And the fifth is take action.
Okay. And in your book, you explain each one of these 5 principles, but there's a section that I particularly like, the first section, where you talk about the self-preparedness, I guess, that the individual has to do before they can benefit from these 5 principles. Can you talk about that aspect of it for me, the purpose, mindset, and potential?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that we're all called to something bigger than us, but we need to figure it out. We need to figure out what it is we're here for on earth. What is our purpose here on earth? That's a big job, but I really do believe it's already in us. God has already put it, the universe has already put it in us, what we are called to be. We just have to tap into that.
Okay.
So we need to reach back in and identify, again, like I said in the first segment, our gifts, our talents, the skills we've acquired along the way, our experiences. Put it all together to figure out, what am I called to do? And then use that to identify, who can I serve and how can I serve?
Okay. So in the introduction, you have purpose, mindset, and potential. And so let's do the first one, purpose.
Yes.
You have to find out why you're here or what you're supposed to be doing.
You have to find out why you're here.
Okay.
If you're here just going to work to pay bills and then you die, that's a tragedy. What is it that we're called to do? What is your purpose here on earth? Every single one of us has to figure that out.
Okay.
But I do believe what we're here to do, what we're called to do, is linked to service. We're here to serve.
Okay.
Who are you here to serve? And how can you serve them? That's linked to your gifts.
Okay. And then the second one is mindset. Tell us about how purpose, mindset interact.
Right. So you would see from the 5 principles, the first 2 principles, I call it the mindset shift.
And the first 2 principles are think big
and face your fears. I call them the mindset shift. Once you've identified what your purpose is and who you're trying to serve and why you're here, you need to shift your mind in order for you to take action. We all talk about comfort zone. It's easy to sit in your comfort zone. But in order to move out of your comfort zone and to be powerful, to reach that highest potential by serving who you're called to serve, you have to shift your mind. So there's a mindset shift that has to happen even before you can start to do anything else.
Yes.
Quick story. When I was starting in the business world, and I would go to all those webinars, and I would realize the first thing they talked about is mindset. Back then, I didn't understand it. Now I do. Because there's so many challenges along the way to your greatness that if you don't prepare your mind, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. And you have to open your mind to accept new things that you don't already know.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. And what about potential?
You need to do all of that. You need to reach your highest potential.
Okay.
If you don't tap into your purpose and shift your mindset, you cannot reach your highest potential.
Fantastic. Okay. So all of those preparatory and continuing things in purpose, mindset, and potential bring us to the 5 principles. You already talked about 2. Number 1, think big. Let's delve into that for a second. Think big.
Yeah. So I mean, that's so abstract. Think big. What does that mean? I mean, think big. But so I usually try to practicalize that for people. Identify tools that you can use to think big. I believe thinking big is about stretching your mind and believing that you can do whatever you set your mind to do. So believing that you can do whatever it is that your goals are, and having faith that even though you haven't gone to that place in your life, you can see yourself in that place. That also comes with visualization.
Yes, visualization.
Being able to visualize yourself in that future state. And please document it. Document it to hatch it in your memory, to have some clarity about your goals and where you're trying to go. And then surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, because they will inspire you and empower you to get to that place.
Fantastic. And then the second principle is conquer your fears. Tell us about that.
So fear is attached to everything that we want to do. Every next level that we're trying to get to, there's some fear attached to it. If there's no fear, that means it's not a next level. So there's fear attached to that. But the only thing we need to fear is fear itself. And the only thing we need to fear is the disaster of never reaching your potential. So therefore, we need to be committed. So I feel like with fear, you need to be committed. You need to understand that there's fear, but you need to be committed to your goals. So once you're committed to your goals, and we all have those self-limiting beliefs, they come up in our heads, we need to replace them with positive, affirming beliefs.
Fantastic.
So anything that I cannot do, you replace it with I can't do it. I'm not worthy, you replace it with I'm worthy.
All right.
And gratitude is another tool that I use. I feel like gratitude is transformational to our mind, shifts our mind. Once you begin to appreciate where you are, it's easier for you to see where you can go.
Okay. So tell us about the third principle, seek and acquire knowledge.
So seek and acquire knowledge in everything that we're going to do, business, professional, you need to know what you're doing. But I always tell, when I teach my workshops, I always tell people, start from where you are. Start from where you are, but be committed to learning and growing as you grow in your business or profession. So start from where you are. Don't let your lack of knowledge limit you, but be committed to learning, because we only learn while doing.
Okay. And the fourth one is find mentors.
Find mentors. So important, because that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, because of that lack of mentorship that I talked about earlier. But I do believe that mentorship is in 3 phases. I do believe that find mentors, people that have come before you, so you can avoid those pitfalls as those common mistakes. But also find peers. Find people around you that are doing what you're doing, because you need that support and you need that accountability. So you find mentors by looking up, you find peers by looking around you, and then you find a community. People that give you opportunity to keep growing, people that give you opportunity for visibility. That's that community. So it's kind of 3-part. It's mentor, peer, and community.
Okay. And you said look up, look out, and look around.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
I love that.
absolutely.
I love that. And then the 5th principle is act and follow through. Tell us about that.
So, I mean, in anything we do, if we don't take action, then we're not really moving forward. So it's pretty impossible to do the first 4 principles and not do this, because you've done the work to get to the point where you take action. But just some few tips about taking action is you have to set goals. You have to set SMART goals. And then you have to have a plan to accomplish that goal. But a lot of people set goals and they have a plan, but they still don't move. I believe that we need to have a routine. So a daily routine that allows you to take consistent small steps towards those actions. So even though I call it massive action, there's really no such thing as massive action. It's a culmination of consistent small steps that leads to that massive action.
And so you've taken the first 2 principles, think big and conquer your fears, and you actually call them a mindset in the loop. And so why is that mindset versus the next 3 principles, seek and acquire knowledge, find mentors, and act and follow through, called massive action? What's the difference between those 2?
I think I mentioned it earlier that you need to shift your mind in order to be able to progress. So I feel like the mindset shift is the preparatory of your mind in order to take action. But it's a loop. So it's that the more you do, the more you do. So once you start practicing each of those principles, they kind of lead into each other, and you keep repeating the loop for your next challenge, for your next step.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now you do have an organization called Empowerment Initiative.
Yes.
Where you share all this information with everyone.
Yes.
What made you start that organization?
So after I had my book and it was looking pretty on Amazon, I decided I needed to do more with the book. So Empower Initiatives came out of Empowered Women, because I wanted to build a community of empowered women. so we can support each other, tap into each other's network to grow. So we have events like twice a year where we tackle different topics like personal leadership, work-life balance, branding, different topics.
And we can find that on your website.
On my website.
The one thing I want to make sure that everyone sees as they look at the book cover is the art. That is a woman, superwoman, and it's an empowering picture. I'd like to thank you, Adebola, for coming and hanging out with us. And you may see her again because we've got a lot more to talk about. And any parting words?
Just go for your dreams, believe in yourself, do the work for your mind, and take the steps that you need to get to your next level. We all deserve to reach our highest potential, and we're called to do something, whatever it is you're called to do. Make sure you find that and make sure you take that steps to get there and serve somebody.
We can't say that any better. We will see you next time. Bye.